I think that there is something that they could have done here. I think they could have potentially had something in the bridge that could have tied together these verses a little bit better, or even just completed the story that these verses had. Alas, they did not do that. They opted to not have lyrics in the bridge, which I think is a terrible idea. It's like one of the worst decisions you can make if you are like trying to tell some type of a comprehensive story. The bridge, y'all listen to me. Okay. When you're writing lyrics or a song, like humans work a certain way. Our brains are wired a certain way. When I learn a song on the guitar, there are 3 stages of the song, of learning the song on guitar. The first stage is the initial learning stage where I'm going very slow. I'm just sort of like, it's completely new information. I'm practicing the song slowly. I'm just learning what actually goes into how to play it. The second section is where I begin to hone in on the section and master it. It's like, or not master it, but like get good at it. So that typically involves raising the tempo until it's up to speed. This is a very difficult thing to do. If the song is difficult, you have to make sure that what you're playing is accurate and correct. And as you work from that initial learning stage up to, where you need to be, the goal, like the actual tempo, that is, you encounter all sorts of issues along the way that maybe you didn't conceive. Maybe you need to change the way that you pick. Like maybe instead of going like down, up, you need to go down, up, down, or something like that. You need to change the way you pick the notes, the way you finger the notes with your hand, because the way that you learned it was not quite conducive to how fast the section is. There are all these challenges that happen in the second stage, second, 2. Then you get to the climax of the learning the song, right, on guitar, because that's the metaphor I'm using here, where you get it up to speed, and then you've learned it, you've practiced it, you got the muscle memory, but you're just having trouble playing it. It's just a difficult thing to play, and you really do just have to grind. This is where a lot of people lose it, because it's hard. Even when you know how to play it, it's tough to get it so ingrained in your muscle memory that you can play it almost without thinking. And it's very difficult to get to that point. This would be what you would call your second act low point. This is where you would be the most discouraged from continuing. But if you do continue, you get to the third and final act, which is mastery. You come out of this whole thing being a different person. Now you can play the song. You don't really need to try very hard to play the song. You can just do it. Pretty cool how that's how our brains work, right? Guess what? Storytelling is the same way. 3-act structures function the same way. You learn, you develop the skill, you master the skill. You start the story, you develop the story, you end the story. This is why, there are no rules, right? You can break the rules, but the rules exist for a reason. And this song is an exact perfect example of what happens when you don't follow them. They could have expanded on this conflict. They could have given us something a little bit more substantial and to chew on thematically. And they were right there. But instead they chose not to put additional lyrics in the bridge, which means they had to cram the whole conflict and resolution into 2 verses, which is why the first verse sets up the conflict. You've deceived me. You only pay attention to aggression, and now you've deceived me. And then the second verse just has to immediately resolve the conflict. You lose, I win. You're afraid of me. Ha ha, I'm Ivan Moody. And that's it. And it's done. And so what we get left with is nothing to think about, nothing to ponder, nothing to reflect on, no conflict to really be invested in as a listener, no tension or stakes, no story, no theme, and ultimately no real meaning. This song is just nothing. So yeah, I'm just going to be blunt. These lyrics are terrible in every way. There are just these small pockets of maybe they had something. Maybe this is a little idea that you could expand on. And they just didn't. They snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. So yeah, pretty shitty. Pretty damn shitty.